All right, so today I'm going to do kind of an overview of one of my favorite standalone-ish pedals that I use on my board, and that is the Boss SY-200 synthesizer. So this one is very similar to the SY-1 pedal, except that doesn't have a lot of the features that this one actually has here. So this one, as you know, has all of the same sounds, I believe, that other one does, and variation, effect, and direct level. And then these three knobs are going to be different parameters depending on the category that we're in. What this one does allow us to do, though, is have a, different options, especially through MIDI. We can have 128 different synth sound setups and different presets, 128 there. So through MIDI, I could, on my HX Stomp, go to a certain setting, and this is going to sync up with it as well, which is super cool. I don't have MIDI connected right now, but I will do a tutorial at some point showing how I connect those and using the MIDI clock instead of the way that it's measured right here. This first setting called Oubliette 1, that's for one of the bands that I play with. So I've owned this pedal for a while now, so I've already rearranged a lot of the settings for things. Fornicus is a band I played with, Ophusius I play with, so a lot of these first few effects are basically ones that I have swapped around. So this is not how it would load up if you were to have one of these. So we have in our categories here. Let's see. Looks like we have leads, then pads, strings, bells, organ sounds, bass. Dual is going to be a combination of a few of the different things there to kind of stack them. Sweep, noise, sound effects, sequencers, and arpeggios. And there are some different sequencer type things and synths available in the HX Stomp and Helix products there, but they're really DSP heavy. So it really limits what you can do as far as having amps or drives or even reverbs and things mixed in there. So having something that has more options and it's dedicated to that and works really well is something that's super valuable. Even if I'm not using this all the time, I can tell you that having it as part of my rig and turning it on at certain specific points really, I can see in people's faces the reaction, and it's something that's really cool there. So let's maybe take a look at some of the features here with it. So if I dial this around, then you can see the direct effect level and variation knobs down here appear on the screen. And for the arpeggios, or for the leads, I'll just go around in this order. How many options do we have? So each one of these variations that comes up there. So we've got 30 lead options, which is great. On the pads, we've got a total of 20. As long as I'm not hitting save, I don't have to worry about messing things up. Strings, we've got about 14 variations, it looks like. Bells, we've got 12 variations. Organs, looks like we've got about 13. Bass, we've got 11. Dual, we have 9 on that one, but still they're great options. How many sweeps do we have? 9. We have a lot of noise ones, only 4. Sound effects, we've got, 22, it looks like. Sequencer, looks like we've got about 18. And then arpeggios, we've got about 9 different options there. So I'm going to do more of a sound test at some point, kind of breaking some of these down. Let's just see what this saw lead sounds like. So I'm in D standard, my LTD. As soon as I turn this on, I think there's some direct level in there. This expression pedal I've got plugged in here. actually controls, I've got it set to control the effect level. So I could have this pedal on all the time, which is how I've kind of done it live, and then just press the expression pedal forward whenever I need the sound, and that allows me to kind of blend them in, control the volume of them there, which I really like. I'm just going guitar into this pedal right now, but from my previous setups, it can be really a good tool to have a compressor going into this, because a lot of the sounds in here are very dependent on the velocity that you hit them with. So a light strike might come out very different than a hard strike. So if you use a compressor, it kind of evens out the dynamic range that you're sending to it and might make you sound more consistent. Something to consider. And it's super cool that this is working off of the actual signal coming in and does not require a MIDI pickup. Now that might give you some more options that you might not have with some other things, but just the whole not having to have something like that installed on every single instrument and the variations that can cause is super cool. Let's maybe do a little bit of a menu dive here. Before I do, let's do this. So as I mentioned, tone, resonance, and depth, these three knobs can be different depending on what you're on. So like right now, I think we're on a lead sound, but if I went to an arpeggio, now suddenly it's tone, tempo, and depth. Let's see, if I turn again to tempo, depth, tone, resonance, depth. Let's see. So it's not that different on all of them, but definitely on some of these where you have the tone and the tempo can make a big difference. Now, just controlling that through the MIDI clock the way that I do kind of streamlines it a little bit from my setup, the way that I like it. So let's take a look at that menu now. So I hit the menu once, and it brings up three options that I can go into by clicking on any of these buttons. So the on-off function right there. I can even edit what this does. So right now it's just set to on-off. If I turn this first knob right here, then it's going to take me down through the the menus that I can edit. And then the second knob for the second column would be what it's actually doing. So on-off, memory on. A few things it can do there. Toggle and momentary, that would be the, holding it down for momentary or just tapping it for toggle. And then you can even set it to be system or memory right there. I like everything to be system, because then the way that I know it to work on every preset is going to be the same, and it's not going to switch around from preset to preset. So I hit exit to take me back to the menu here. Control function, that would be this button right here for the control one. Let's see. So right now I've got it set to sound hold, S hold. That's the one that I like. I can change other parameters down here, and whether it's system or toggle or momentary again. But if I change this, so you can see I have a few options before, a few options after. Memory, tap, hold, different things like that. I like it just to be the hold, but you can do tap tempo right there. So if I tap twice, see, it's gonna, for every 2 taps, it's going to sync up with that. Tempo on off. So if I was using this for something else, I could set this to be the on off switch. But again, I like it to be the S hold right there. Let me show you just what that does before we go on, because I wasn't really sure at first either. Oh, so I'm on an arpeggio, that's why. So now I'm not holding down that note anymore. I'm going to pull the volume down on it. So now you can hear I've got my dry signal. It's kind of... So my dry signal, which is just that, it's just dry, can mess around in that key. I hit the note A, but now I'm going to hit the note E. Hit that. Now if I tap that again, now it grabs that sound. Now I'm going to hit the open D string. Okay, and see it grabs those notes. So that's a really cool feature that I like, and then I can set that depending on this. All right, I might as well do it on the arpeggio too, because like, okay, I like that arpeggio. And now it just keeps going. I'm not playing. That's something that's cool on here. I don't use it a ton live, but I really like some of the inspiration that it can pull out with me. Let's do a little bit more menu looking here. So the expression pedal function, as you heard, it was controlling the volume of what I was doing. So right now I've got it set to effects level, but I could have it control the direct level, or the tempo, or the pitch, depth, rate, resonance, any of those other controls that I have right there. But again, I like it to control the effect level. And I've got the minimum, maximum. So that's maximum, I think, would be 127, 128. No. Okay, 100. Let's maybe pull that down. Well, I'll leave it at 100 there, because I want to be able to control that per preset. I almost said snapshot there. Let's see. If I go back, what about the control function? Aha, so this 1/2, that does show me that there's another set of features here. So this port that I'm plugged into with the TRS cable for the expression pedal that I'm using, that could also be used for controls 2 and 3 if you had like a 2-switch control there. So that could be like, okay, the second switch is controlling the pitch, and the third control is controlling the memory, or the on-off, or the tempo, or the hold. Let's see. I'll just set it. Let's just set it to tap. It's not going to make a big difference there, but you have the parameters you can edit down below there too. So glad I showed that. The control port only lets you do controls 2 or 3 or the expression pedal. So what I normally do is I can control the expression pedal features through MIDI, and then just use that for the control 2 and 3. Let's go back to the menu. We did expression pedal functions. So for the other pages of the menu, scroll over with this, the send and return. This is important. So if it's sending the effect, it has its effects loop in here, then it's running and sending the effect up to a distortion or multi-effects, and then coming back through and blending them together. What I prefer is for it to send the direct signal, so it's processing the synth sound, but then I've also got my regular unaffected sound that's running to other gear and then returning to this, and I want that to be a system preference. And I'll really show off later in another video why that's nice for me. System, this would be a few things like the maximum number of features you have, expression pedal, what it does, the mode, it can do guitar or bass. So obviously I've got it set to guitar, the effect output, I'm telling you that it's running to an amp. I could do a line thing, since right now I'm not technically running to an amp. I need the effect up. So it does change the sound just a little bit. If you are going to an amp, I would say use it for amp. If you're using a keyboard running into this, then probably use the line. The contrast you can turn up or down. 5 is a good spot for me. You can turn it really bright. Let's set it back to 5. All right. Let's see. In the back here, let's see, that was in the system. In MIDI, this is where you can kind of set the channel. So when I am sending MIDI program messages, to channel 4, then it's receiving those and not listening to things that I'm sending on channel 1 or 11 or anything like that. A few other controls here. You can actually edit what the parameter numbers are there, which I have no reason to do, but if you did, that's where you do it. So if you're sending a CC message of 20, you're sending this 1, 21 would be this, 22 would be that. Direct level and effect. So that's actually where I program this in. So instead of using the expression port there, I'm using the HX stomp to send the expression signal and send it on CC19, and that's how I control it. But you can control some of this other stuff here. Clock out is off. MIDI through is on. What else do we have? MIDI PC map. So this would be where you could tell it to crisscross some of the different things, and then factory reset. I don't want to do that. I've spent a lot of time getting these effects in order, the few that I use there. I really want to dig into it though and match these up with the 127 different boards that I have on the HX Stomp and plethora combined there. So again, I want to do some actual playing videos. Maybe in another video. I figured this would be hard enough for me to talk about in a reasonable amount of time. It's a really cool pedal. I understand that it's not for everybody and their needs, but super cool, all the editing that you can do with it here and everything. I am going to do some videos on some of the different effects and running it through this, and then different ways that I can use this with the plethora, with the HX Stomp, with the simplifier. It's just a whole can of worms to get into with this. So let me go ahead and wrap this video up so that I can get onto those and then maybe just reference back to this video when needed. But I appreciate everybody for watching and sticking with it, and I hope this was helpful in making this decision if you've been looking at one of these. If you've got any helpful tips or anything I missed, throw those down in the comments, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.